Yes, we are live once again. Here we are at the Reentry Connect podcast. Six figures from the cell. Yes, with the big dog, Mr. Glenn Lewis. Telling you, powerful story. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to take up the whole night. But he's going to get into it soon, but not shortly. And I'm telling you, like, these are some great inspirational stories that we've been having on here. We appreciate everybody's feedback. We thank you for commenting and engaging with the things that we have to say, because I'm telling you, it really means a lot when we get these good reports. We haven't got a negative report yet, but it's all good. But before we continue, I just want to give a shout out to GPS Transportation, one of the five-star transportation companies in the city of Philadelphia, working in tri-states and all over, from wheelchair accessories to wheelchair transports to the party buses to 15 passengers and all types of buses. Feel free to always go and contact them when you need some great transportation. GPStransportation.net at 215-774-9913. Another one I want to shout out is Old Dad, Brother Mel Wells, one day at a time. Old Dad, we appreciate you for all the services you have here in the city of Philadelphia, dealing with recovery housing, dealing with reentry support, dealing with addiction support. We ask y'all reach out to him whenever you have any type of troubles or anything. Anybody that's looking for resources, please do so. But back to the show, Mr. Glenn Lewis. We thank you for coming here tonight here on the show. We really appreciate you, man. We know that you have a powerful story that's going to really shake a lot of people up. But, man, I want you to just go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and just tell us a little about who you are before we get in depth of your upbringing and everything.
Hey, Glenn Lewis from the south side of Chicago. 130th, 3130, Concordia Park, Allgale Gardens, south side of Chicago.
Okay. Southside Chicago. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, Mr. Glenn Lewis, if you could tell us how it was, because a lot of times we hear a lot about Chicago, the gang worn days, the Larry Hoovers. We hear about, the GDs. We hear a lot of different gang activity that goes on there. Not saying you got to touch on a lot of that, but anytime, like, especially in different parts of the country, you hear old block, you hear a lot of different things. But I want to hear about what was your experience like growing up in Chicago, leading up to the point to when you went to prison.
Growing up in Chicago, yeah, the crazy stories you hear now, they went on back then. But now it's even crazier. But growing up, just like any other kid, being from the inner city, from a urban, rough neighborhood. But when you got good parents and you got older cousins and uncles, and a lot of my family was like into gangs, and they were on different sides. So, like you said, you had the GDs and Blackstones and BDs. So I was kind of like shielded and protected because they had like, so to say, higher rank in the game. So I was able to be a kid and still play sports, run around, and not have to get involved unless like I just wanted to. But I took the time though to be a kid, and I played sports, baseball, basketball, all the way through high school. But yeah, it was just like any other neighborhood. But when you're a kid, you really don't look at it as dangerous. But now looking back, and I see, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was in a dangerous area.
Wow. So at what point, like, did you see a turn in your life? Like, what type of influences that had captured you and allowed you to go down in the wrong direction?
Well, to be honest, I don't think I really went down like a wrong direction. I just think when you grow up in those neighborhoods, you're around the people that and a lot of people young that growing up, when I was growing up, they didn't have the fathers in the household, so they were kind of running wild. And I had both parents in my household, but those are just my friends. So whatever they do, I want to do, and vice versa. So I see a lot of times that I was into things, and even when I got locked up, like that wasn't even like on the case of me. I had did other things in the past that I probably should have been locked up for.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it was just, I guess it was like karma happening, but I think everything happened for a reason. So it worked out in
Wow.
my favor though.
So it came right back. Wow. So you wound up going to prison for somebody else's case.
Yeah, I was actually in a car, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So guilty by association.
yeah, I was a passenger. Yeah,
Wow. So and that brings up a good point. You said just because you were there, you were associating with individuals. A lot of people don't know this. For a lot of individuals just listening, that criminal conspiracy is a bad thing. Just by you being associating with a person, talking on the phone with them, or even plotting to do something that you never actually carried out with, they can use that to tie you into a crime just because you was on the scene with somebody that did commit a crime or did have possession of something. You know, you can always be considered a person that conspired with somebody else.
yeah,
So think about that when you hang around the people that got that gun or they carrying them drugs on them, and you think they cool. That's
yeah,
really they can charge you with the same exact thing.
yeah.
So, but Mr. Glenn, but tell me, yeah. So what happened that night? Like, far as you don't have to go extreme in detail, but what happened that night? With you using the car, they just wound up locking you up as well.
So yeah, the crazy thing is my cousin. He
Mm-hmm.
had just got out from doing 17 years from being wrongfully incarcerated.
Wow.
He wrote his own appeal, got
Mm-hmm.
out. So we just hanging out. Like I was actually in Miami when he got out when he got released. So
Wow.
I'm like, all right, shoot back up to Chicago, go hang out with him. We on his side of town.
Mm-hmm.
So the police, he makes a turn down one way, the wrong way.
Wow.
All I hear is sirens, police, the police lights, red and blue lights.
Mm-hmm.
And before we can even get out the car, all you hear is, "Don't move, put your hands up." And I later found out we was in what they consider a high crime neighborhood. So it was like 17 officers out there. And the crazy thing is, if you read my paperwork, the officer came up with this superhero story of
Mm-hmm.
me being a passenger in a car.
Wow.
He's standing over me with a light illuminating in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I reach, pull a gun out,
Oh,
point
so
it.
you had a gun on you.
No. I didn't even have the gun on me.
You
But
didn't have it.
this is his story.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
he fabricating.
yeah.
All right.
So he say I reach, pull a gun out, put it 6 inches from his face, and it's 17 police out here.
You know that's a lie.
Yeah, look, no shots go off.
Yeah.
Even in court, I had the officer who was on the driver's side with my cousin testify she didn't see this.
Wow.
Yeah. And the
Wow.
crazy thing about the system is, so my cousin, he had a little marijuana joint rolled up.
Mm-hmm.
They even went to say that this is to enhance the charge. This is armed violence. They're
Wow.
protecting the drugs with a gun. We talking about a blunt of marijuana.
So you mean to tell me a blunt of marijuana? But here it is, like, and any fool knows that if a person points a gun at an officer, you automatically know they're going to shoot to kill. Period.
And he said on record that he yelled out gun,
Gun.
but no shots went off.
And
Not
that's what I'm
mine.
saying.
Not mine that he said was loaded. Not none of the 17 officers.
That's deep. But here it is, they fabricated a story, you know, and it's from the sounds of it, it seemed like it was probably a little bit of racial profiling. Like you said, you're in a high infested crime neighborhood. Then you probably fit the description of almost every person.
Exactly.
I'm assuming dreadlocks. Oh, this person had this on, something dark. and fits the description. So that's common, especially in America, for people to go through. So let me ask you this. So eventually, did you wind up getting convicted for that crime?
I had to go to trial.
Okay.
The crazy thing, they offered me 6 years. And the system is so messed up because they offered me 6 years because the charges went from 6 to 30, armed violence. So I said, not at all. Kick rocks, have a good day. See you in trial. So I go to trial. I beat the I think it was like 5 counts of armed violence. I beat that, but then they found me guilty on the gun charge, which was 1 to 3 years. And I would have beat that, but my cousin ended up getting killed, who was going to testify on my behalf.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and it was crazy because he had a lot of money on the table from his wrongful incarceration for those 17 years. So he was doing depositions, and he kept telling my lawyer, like, hey, hold on, push his case back. And he ended up getting killed. And now it's like my story against the police officer. And for some reason, they get held to a higher oath. But when they lie, then they're not held to that same high standard. So it's my story against his. And even his officer said they didn't see it. Like,
okay. So let me ask you this. So you get convicted, you go through what you go through. It came a time when you were in prison. And I know that this podcast was titled, 6 Figures from the Cell. What type of experiences did you go through? And what type of way did you want to transform your life to start making such figures?
I always envision myself having a good life. And even before jail, I had a fairly good life, what I would consider. I was making good money because I was out in the streets doing a little movement, selling a little this, a little that. So I was making good money. So then once I got locked up and convicted, I said, all right, what am I going to do differently now to continue making the money and not get out? Because I know once I get out, I already got a target on my back now. I got a felony on my record.
Okay.
So, the struggles of employment. I was even denied life insurance policies. Not based on my health, based on a felony charge.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a condo. I had a condo out of town. And I was staying at this condo for, I want to say, like 2 years prior to me getting locked up. Because I fought the case for 2 years, then went to trial.
Okay.
After I got out of jail and it was time for me to renew, they called me and they said, hey, we see this on your record. I said, oh my God. They said, can you tell us about this? Now I've been living over here paying my fees, no problems. So that's just the little things we have to deal with. But when I was sitting in jail, I said, how can I not affect the people around me lives? Because I think it's probably more taxing on the people around you than you actually doing the time. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself because mentally, I'm strong and strong-minded and came from a strong Black woman and protective father. So I know how to handle myself in different situations, but it was more so I seen how the people around me was affected, having to see me leave, having to see me shackled up, having to come visit me, I got my nephew here, so I think it was more so for them. So I said, what can I do to continue to make money and live the lifestyle that I want to live? And then I sat on a bump. One of my sellers gave me a book. It was called The Prosperity Bible.
Oh, wow.
And man, that book, it was like 1,000+ pages. Okay. When I read that book, that's what made me say, you know what? I got to write a book. I said, this is how, when I get out, I'm going to continue to make money, but just legitimately. And I sat down every day and I worked on it. I worked on writing the book, worked on writing it. And then the crazy thing is 6 Figures from the Cell. I can show you a piece of paper that I wrote in jail. that manifested that I was gonna make $100,000 once I got out of jail. And literally, I did that.
You did that.
Yep, I did that.
Wow. So how actually? So let's backpedal. You went through the prison. You picked up a book to read, which most people don't like to do.
You right.
And I hate to put stereotypes in, and I hate to put little cliches in, but they say sometimes if you want to hide something from a black man, you put it in a book. Yeah. Because oftentimes most people don't read. They don't like reading, even though that's where a lot of the knowledge and the information is.
That's a fact.
Most people rather this social media video stuff instead of actually getting books that they could get at libraries or buy off of Amazon. They'd rather go by face video value and things like that. But when you did that, you felt an empowerment come over you, whereas you said, hey, I'm going to be devoted and determined to accomplish the goals that I've written out for myself. Yeah. So what were the actual steps that you took to hit that $100,000 when you did get out?
So when I got out, I ran into a lady named Carla in Atlanta. She was her name is Carla DuPoint. So if you in Atlanta, boy, you don't even have to be in Atlanta. If you wanna, I'm gonna give y'all a hack right now. If you want to write a book, you want your book ghost written, I wrote mine. Carla DuPoint. Look her up in Atlanta. So I was referred to her, and I flew out to Atlanta. I sat down with her. I said, hey, I want to write a book. I got this story. This is my plan. I said I was going to do it once I got out of jail. Here we are. She gave me a writing schedule.
Okay.
She helped me kind of dwindle down the purpose of the book and the things that I wanted to cover in the book. And I sat down, I want to say like 45 minutes to an hour every 2 or 3 days. And then I'll meet with her. Let her see what I got. And then we'll go from there. It was like I want to say a 6-month process. I want to say it was like a 6-month process. And then she did all the editing, but I read the book, man, so many times, Keenan. Because I had to make sure. I'm a hands-on type of guy. So I don't like to just do work and just have some, like I gotta look at it and make sure that what I'm doing is good quality work that I'm putting out here. So I read the book probably over 1,000 times. After she's the editor, she's getting paid to edit, but I'm just continuing to read it, make sure it sounds great. And the crazy thing is, Keenan, I made the book where it's like simplified, so it's not super philosophical. Everybody can read the book and get something. And the craziest thing is that years later, Keenan, I see a lot of entertainers, athletes saying all these things that I wrote in the book. And it just amazes me.
So it took off. It took off from there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very powerful. And that's amazing that you say that. Like it really meant a lot when athletes and certain people read your book. That just the word of a person of influence or a person that is in the entertainment business or is a big mogul in the world or the country. Just start them just even mentioning your name, it can really mean a lot and help you out a lot. It can make your book skyrocket and things like that, which is a great thing. So let me ask you this. So after that, you formed a company under Glenn Lewis Inspires. Now, did you have a website or what type of things, did you do so people could follow you and get in contact with you?
So before that, I started a real estate company.
Okay.
Yeah, before that, I started a real estate company. Now, I told you I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I've been around people that was getting money. And a lot of the times it really do ends one or two ways, death or jail. And I kind of knew I was different as a kid when I was around these things. And I had my mother and my father that kept me grounded, and my uncles and my cousins. But I seen all the kids in the neighborhood look up to these people. But then every time I was around, they always looked up to me or they asked about me. So I knew I knew I'm like, it's something about me that's different. But that was what made me start the real estate company, because they did the same thing, drugs and nothing else. Drugs, more drugs. So I said, I don't want to go back to jail. Gotcha. And I don't want to die either. Like, I'm loving life. I'm living it up. I'm traveling. I'm going here, going there. I said, I was watching a Rick Ross video. And at the time, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bitter about Rick Ross, because coming from the south side of Chicago, watching entertainers and rappers talk the drug rap and the kingpin rap and the violence, and when I feel like not really living it or not growing past it, it kind of like disturbed me, because on the south side of Chicago, like, people are hearing this and this is what they're going to carry out, not knowing that you making your money a different way, a legal way, a safer way, you know? So, but I was in the bed and I was watching the video. And my point is to say that, no, don't worry about the messenger. Just get the message.
Get the message.
So I told you I was a little disturbed with him at the time, but he said, if you got the opportunity to get real estate, get you some real estate. And Keenan, that same night, I was like this online. I gotta find anything. And then I went and I purchased a property cash. I purchased a condo cash. And then it started cash flowing. And after that, like, and I was still so nervous from being in jail and in the streets. I put that property in somebody else's name.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I'm just like, I go in the bank, 30,000 here. And they're like, so what are you doing? What do you do? I'm like, oh my God. So so I put it in a young lady name, and they had a legitimate job, you know. She had the funds coming in. So I put it in her name, but then it started cash flowing, and then I went and got another one. Then I said, you know what? Let me start to learn more about the actual business side of it and the organization of business. And then I said, let me get an LLC, because I had originally started an LLC right when I caught my case. Because I said, if I go to jail, I can't worry about employment from somebody, and I'm not the type to beg, hey, can you give me a job, man? I'm down on my luck. I said, the only way to do it is, do it yourself. It's really the same way as the streets.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah. So wow. So you went out there knowing, like, okay, that you knew that once you wrote your book, that was going to be a stream of income. Then all of a sudden you got inspired about doing real estate. That was going to be another stream of income, which is powerful, because most people don't know that, most, especially wealthy people, their portfolio of real estate is probably like the highest percentage in anybody's wealth. Real estate, land, property, because large, mind you, real estate, land, it always appreciates. A lot of wealthy people, they invest their money in appreciating assets. So all this, when people think, okay, I got money, I want to go spend it on a car and this, that, and the third, all that stuff depreciates over time. But a lot of people, you can't really tell that, because individuals have never been educated on finances. They've never been educated on the way money works. What is money? Money is just a piece of paper. It's something that's just made up to distinguish the difference between, the currency and the medium in which it could be a actual fair exchange.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know a lot of it started like with China dealing with the certain coins, and from there they started doing like paper certificates and deposit. Like it's a lot of different things where you got to understand these things in order to really grasp the concept. And again, it's not just that; it's way more. When you go into the banking scene, a lot of people think of banking as, oh, I'm gonna go open up a bank account, checking the savings account. Oh yeah. Like it's way more to banking and finances than just banking. You know, it's situations where you can borrow against your assets.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a loan against your assets from the things you have.
Yep.
You know, and then you can take that and then put it into a mortgage. Actually, no, you can actually get that to purchase something, and then you can actually refi it into a mortgage. So it's like there's so many different ways, but again, these are things that are not taught in schools. They're not taught to us growing up.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes people may be listening right now. They can really care less about hearing it. They just want to listen and probably say, "Oh, how can I get some money from you?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. People look for handouts. They look for the easy way. That's why it's always going to narrow down to the circle that you're keeping around you. It's always going to narrow down to the people you allow to pour into you. It's always going to narrow down to, you know, who you look up to. You know, again, pouring into you, your mentors, people you chill with every day. The people you chilling with every day, smoking weed, doing nothing, you're going to be just like them.
No, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? What they say. You hang around one millionaire, you know what I'm saying? You probably be the second. You hang around 3 billionaires, you probably be the fourth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, so on and so on. But you hang around some 3 knuckleheads, you're gonna be the fourth.
You gonna be the fourth.
You know what I mean? But my
bad, it ain't gonna fail you either.
I'm telling you. And I don't mean to, you know, take up all of that, but
you hit a good point though, especially when you said circles. You just made me go pull up a chapter in my book. It literally says sometimes your circle decreases in size but increases in value.
Wow.
And being in prison allowed me to eliminate a lot of people that I was around. So that's why I don't look at it as necessarily a bad thing. I think it was meant for the journey. I eliminated so many people, and my trajectory just kept going up.
Wow.
It's not about how many people that you hang around. You know, I'd rather be around a couple wolves than 100 sheep.
Yeah, that's it. I'm telling you. That's how you gotta do it sometimes. I'm telling you, because man, you get caught up in the peer pressures and the systems of this world. You'd be like, man, like, what did you get yourself into? Like, why am I even? Sometimes you got to ask yourself that. Like, you look around, like, why am I even communicating with you?
Yeah,
and it's not. I'm not better than you. I'm not saying I'm better than you, but I'm better off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm better off.
Yeah, we just don't align.
We just don't align. It's like, how can two walk together unless they agree?
Yeah.
I mean, bitter and sweet can't go together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The river, you know, when you look at a river, you know, you can't have a bitter stream and a clean stream running in the same. You can't, it's just not going to mix like water and oil. Like, it's just not going to click. It's up to you to decide. You know, and that goes for a lot of the young cats out there. The people that you're hanging around. Like, if y'all just sit, like I told people that before. I said, yo, like, people would rather stand on the street corner freezing to death, right, than to be in a house warm with their kids, having quality time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'd rather be on the corner just looking around, doing nothing, no money in your pocket.
Nothing.
Pocket full of lint, not a cent.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? By the bodega. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? So that's just the way of this world. But that's why I'm glad you came on the podcast and you enlightening individuals. You know what I'm saying? You being a young man and you showing them and you let them know, hey, listen, that's not the route to go. This is the route that I took. and I'm quite sure that it can help you and benefit you in the future as well. So real quick, if people wanted to contact you, how would they do so?
You can, my Gmail is GlennLewisInspires@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can reach out on the website, www.glennlewisinspires.com.
Mm-hmm. So with these services here, are you offering any mentoring classes? Are you giving any speaking engagements? Are you keynote speaker? What type of things and services are people expected to see once they go here?
Yeah, you can reach out and my team will get back with you. I'm doing speaking engagements. I'm working on building up a coaching curriculum for the youth, because that's my main goal right now. Well, one of my main goals is to get to the youth and kind of give them some guidance. Because when I whatever city I go to, I make sure I try to go to the hood and just see where the kids are. Not the grown folks that want to be in the hood, the kids that's in the hood because they don't have an option, And I try to inspire them, get them out, take them to basketball games, take them out the hood, buy them food, just talk to them, and just give them some hope and give them some inspiration, because I'm seeing a lot of kids are raised by kids, so I know they're not getting poured into properly. So I'm trying to help with that social emotional learning with the kids.
Cool, powerful. So if there's one thing that you can share to individuals that's listening to you right now, whether they're in that halfway house, recovery house, they're in prison right now listening, or in any event, what type of things would you say to encourage individuals and to empower them and implore them to do better with their life?
I would say I like to look at it like this. Life is like a movie. We all watch movies and they all come to an end. But you have to pick how your movie ends. You might see somebody start off at the beginning of the movie going through it. That can be you. But what you do in between is going to determine how your movie ends. And I always like to say, I go with this mantra: push yourself now so life don't force you to move.
Wow, nice. And that's very powerful. And I know Mr. Glenn Lewis, man, we appreciate even having you on here and sharing, the things that you have shared. And real quick, where can people purchase your book?
You can go to the website.
So they can go to the website? Okay, and that's cool.
It's on, it's on there.
Okay, and he will get an autographed copy as well, or no?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. That's great. Powerful information.
If they mention you, then we'll give them a discount too.
Okay, cool. We appreciate that.
Off.
Yes, indeed. We appreciate that. And so without further ado, here on the Reentry Podcast, yes, we had it here, 6 Figures from the Cell. Yes, with Mr. Glenn Lewis. We appreciate him coming out and tuning in and letting us know that that all things are possible. You know what I mean? If we did it from a jail cell, came home, been a success, you can do it as well. And remember to like, share, send this to people that can use this inspiration. That's all what this platform is about. It's about building people, inspiring people, giving people hope, and allowing them to not return to the old things that they used to do. So before we end, again, shout out to GPS Transportation, 5-star transportation company. Look them up. They're 5-star. Any type of transportation that you need, feel free to tap into them at 215-774-9913 with the website there on the screen as well. Also, shout out to One Day at a Time, Mr. Mel Wells. Appreciate you, old dad. Yes, there's a lot in the community tapping him as well. Great resource center for all types of things and needs here in the city. But without further ado, I'm going to get ready to end this podcast here at the Reentry Connect Podcast. I'm your host, Keaton Hudson. And There goes his book. He's putting his book up there on the screen. Let's see it again. Let's see that thing again. Yeah, Lessons from a Felon. Lessons from a Felon. Glenn Lewis. That's it right there. Everybody going to
having me, Tina.
Okay, yeah, no doubt.
When you come to Miami, to Miami, we're gonna make sure you.
Indeed, coming through there like a boss. Rick said.
Yeah.
Nah, you know, I'm coming down here humble. You know what I mean? But yeah, we appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and end it out, man.